All right, guys, welcome back. Today, I'm going to be doing a reaction to a YouTube video. This guy's Pete's Garage. Apparently, this is a personal experience that he went through. New tires, wheel alignment scam. Avoid ripoffs. So, let's get into it and see what it's all about.
Garage. This video is about the scam of when you go buy new tires, you need a wheel alignment. All right, so I just went through.
Now, just because you buy new tires doesn't mean that you need a wheel alignment. I think it's a good idea to get it checked. On my own personal rig, I would probably check it, but that doesn't mean that it needs to be done.
Experience of buying new tires, and I experienced the scam. I knew the scam as it was occurring, but I let it happen because I wanted to document the evidence and I wanted to share it with everyone on what happens and how these places can be really sneaky when you go to get new tires. First of all, it
feels a little bit like he's kind of trying to set them up, and I don't love that, but we'll see.
I had a 2015 Kia Soul that needed new tires. It only has 66,000 miles on it, but it needed new tires. Winter's coming up, and I wanted to get new tires. So I took it to a local place in my area, Dunn Tire, fairly large chain, so to speak, fairly reputable. I've purchased tires from them before, where I've just taken my tires to the shop. They've replaced it. I brought it back, installed it myself.
Keep in mind that these places are businesses, and they need to make money, so there's not a ton of money in tires, honestly. The margins are usually 10%, maybe less. And so to, bridge the gap a little bit, they'll offer services like alignments or specialty road force balances, things that, they can charge a little bit more labor for and get a little bit more of their money. They were just installing tires, probably wouldn't be in business.
But for this vehicle, they're small tires, 205, 65 R16s. Small tire, they're pretty cheap. I figured I'd drop them off, let them change the tires, make my life a lot easier. And it's only a couple miles down the road, so I drove it down there, beautiful day, dropped it off, walked back, waited for them to call. So there's a few things, actually there's one big thing that told me that this was a huge ripoff. Now, First, I went to drop off the car, and when I dropped it off, they're taking the vehicle in. He says, okay, the tires I ordered. Several days before, I went on their website, chose the tire I wanted, and made the appointment. They called me up and said they had to order the tires, so I had to change the appointment for another day. Fine, okay, I'll make
So this is kind of common. With more online interactions, the systems don't always communicate together correctly. At least they caught it, they reviewed the order, verified, and knew when they were coming in, and they were able to correct you so you didn't show up and have them be like, oh yeah, sorry, those tires aren't here yet, which does happen. But that's something to keep in mind whenever you're scheduling online. I know it's convenient, but honestly, it's better to either call and talk to somebody or go in and stop in and do things the old school way, or at least call and verify just to make sure, hey, they got your appointment, everything's looking good.
I'll wait another day. So I go and drop off the car and didn't say anything about the tires to me. Didn't say anything about the tires. But he says, hey, okay, we're going to change your tires. And oh, by the way, right here on here it says, you can see it says, we're going to check the wheel alignment for free.
Yeah, there you go. Free alignment. So that's their way in, start by doing a free check. Doesn't cost you anything. Honestly, it is a good service. I would do it. And then, yeah, you just want to verify.
Who doesn't want anything for free? You want to check my wheel alignment for free? Go right ahead. But there's no such thing as free. When someone tells you you're going to do something for free, you are giving them permission to reach in your wallet and grab money. Just like when you sign up.
I mean, I don't agree with that. I don't think that's true. I mean, obviously they're using that as a tactic to help close more sales, right? Like it's harder to sell an alignment if you don't know if it needs it or not. And so by starting with a check, it's like a step in, right? Check it, see if it's out. If it's out, then you can be like, yeah, you have solid evidence that it needs it. Do you want to do it? And a lot of the time people will say, yeah, I mean, I would, right? Like you take your car in, you get tires. Like why, if it needs the alignment, why wouldn't you do it?
For an app and you say, yeah, I accept all of your terms and conditions, you're giving them permission to violate your privacy and steal all your personal information and sell it to somebody.
That's true.
That's what free is. There's no such thing as free. But, okay, do the free wheel alignment.
Free alignment check. It's different.
Well, there's a one particular thing that made me extremely suspicious and know I'm getting ripped off. So I get there, drop off the car, and the person behind the counter says, oh, we recommend, since your car has a tire pressure monitoring system, we recommend that you get the rebuild kit for the sensors inside the tire. If you have a tire pressure monitoring system in your car, there's just a little sensor inside the wheel that sends a signal to the computer in the car that lets you know when the tire is low on air. That's all it does. They're saying when we have it all apart, we have a rebuild kit for these things, so we're going to put it in there. And I said,
That's super common. Worked at a tire shop for 7 years, and that was another thing. Sell a rebuild kit or valve stems whenever you do tires. Just another way to like make more money. I think it's a good idea. I mean, a lot of times it's like under $5 a kit, or valve stems are usually a couple dollars, just to avoid problems. Because I mean, guy's saying he's got 60,000 miles on his car. How many years is that? No one wants like a cracked valve stem. I mean, I've definitely seen it. I've had a number of flat repairs coming in from core leaks or cracked valve stems or whatever it be. The rebuild kit on the TPMS sensors is a little bit more of just like a preventative thing. It's something I would probably also do on my car. I mean, you're there. Why not?
well, how much is that? And he said, it's like $10 a tire, $40. So I did some
$40 sounds a little high. That yeah, I don't know. That sounds a little high.
math in my head. I'm like, wait a minute.
When we were doing them, and I mean, it's probably been almost 10 years by now, but it was like $4 or something like that a tire.
$40. It's actually $10.90 per tire. Total was $43.94, $43.92. So I said, you know what? All right, go ahead. I want to see what they're going to do. Now, these parts cost $1.50 a piece, maybe at the most.
OEM sensor kit. So on something like this, I would definitely, that's one style of kit I've seen on like a hard stemmed sensor. The style he had before was a different style where you actually do replace the valve stem and the sensor just screws onto the bottom of it. This thing, like really the only maintenance item is this rubber gasket here. It sits below it and maybe the core. And I wouldn't go on like eBay or something. I mean, I would probably, like, if you did want to replace them, I would just order them from the dealer. Just get the OE ones, because sometimes you do more harm than good by putting like a cheap aftermarket knockoff. I've had like people hand me valve stems they got from like Napa for like $1.50, and they're like, they feel like they're made out of like wax.
So I paid $43.92 for $6 worth of parts. And I don't even know if they did it. I hope they did it. They're fairly reputable around the area.
There's no reason to think they wouldn't have. You can, most shops, I don't know if it's a law, but you are entitled to your old parts back. So if you just wanted to see the condition they were in, I mean, you could just ask for the old parts.
I have to have faith that they did it, but I have no proof that they did it. So that was my skeptical ripoff number one. the rebuild kit for the tire pressure monitoring system. No idea if they did it. But I let him do it anyway because I wanted to have it documented to show you. So go ahead, do it. Now here's the suspicious part. Here is the suspicious part. The timeline is very critical here. I had an appointment for 10 o'clock in the morning. Dropped the car off a little early, quarter to 10. They said, okay, we'll call you when it's ready. I'll come pick it up. I received a phone call at 11:10, 70 minutes later, hour and 10 minutes after my appointment. Calls me up. Pete, you're all set. Come and pick up your car. Everything was fine. We got your new tires on there. Oh, by the way, during your free alignment check, we found that your front right tire is out of alignment.
Oh, here's
I was
the
like,
juice.
really? How much is it out? Well, according to the sheet that they gave me, the front right.
Okay, let's take a look at this here. So, this is a little confusing. So if you're not familiar with alignments, how they work, these bottom bars here, this is your toe, right? So it's really kind of like the way it sounds. It's how your tires are pointing, the front of them either in or out, right? So if you had it toed in a little bit, like what this suggests, like it would be, like pigeon toed or something. But the toe isn't really the point of concern. It's the total toe. So that's the difference between the two front tires. So if you look at this measurement here, the total toe, it's actually green. It's good. And so what happened is when the guy put it on the alignment rack, the steering wheel isn't perfectly straight. So that you can see right here, the steer head's off, and that causes one of the toe readings to be out. Now you can have this is where it's feeling a little scammy, honestly. I'm gonna be real. So before you do an alignment, you should do a test drive, right? Because a lot of this stuff is perception. Because there's no you don't mechanically lock the steering wheel. You can use like a level device on it to make sure it's level, but it's really perception of like how it's driving down the road. So when you do an alignment, you should set the steer head to center and then see where your toe is, unless, for example, the steering wheel is crooked or off center. And a lot of times, customers will note that or complain about that. And it's probably something that should be asked before, like, when you're doing all this, like, hey, we're going to do an alignment check. Does your car feel like it's pulling, drifting? Is the steering wheel centered? Because if you drove it and the steering wheel's straight, right, but your steer head is off when you put it on the alignment rack, as soon as you straightened the steering wheel, so your steer head was good, your total toe is good, this would be green. So if they charged him for this, it's feeling a little scammy. We'll see if he shows us the after.
Right tire is out by 0.16 degrees. It's over the limit, which is 0.12 degrees. So it's 0.04 degrees over, or actually under the low side of the limit, or a total of 0.04 degrees for the toe in, toe out. Not caster and camber, just toe in, toe out. Pretty simple. And
toe is the number one cause of, that is the most, if any angles are out on your car, toe is the most contributing factor to excessive tire wear. So you could have camber be a little bit out, and just because it's out means it's out of whatever the spec is, right? The spec might not be 0, but excessive degrees, excessive variance from what the manufacturer set will cause tire wear. And toe's the biggest issue with it. So, I know it sounds like, oh, just toe is out, but that's probably the one that should be, concerned with the most.
If you drive around, if you hit a pothole, if you maybe hit a curve a little too hard, you're going to knock your alignment out 0.5 degrees. Easy to do.
No.
So I was not going to dispute that. And I did some math in my head real quick, and I'm thinking to myself, there is no way they are going to be able to adjust the toe end to make up for 0.04 degrees.
It's probably about a quarter turn of a tie rod. That is 100% achievable.
I take it to someone I trust. So I told him, go ahead, do it. I want to see what they do. Here's the suspicious part. Let's say that he called me at 11:10. I said, go ahead. And let's say it took him a minute to hang up the phone, maybe 2 minutes tops, to hang up the phone, open the door, yell to the mechanic, go ahead, do the alignment. 2 minutes. And let's say the mechanic does the alignment and takes the car off the rack, drives it out, pulls it up, walks in, hands the keys to the guy behind the counter, and let's say that takes him 2 minutes. So now I got 4 minutes total, right? 4 minutes total of extra work for them to get the car finished. I get a call at 11:18, 8 minutes after the first call. If I take out those 4 minutes, that means they did the wheel alignment in 4 minutes. He says, you're all set, wheel alignment's all done, come and pick up your car. And
Sounds
I thought
about right.
immediately, I looked at my phone, I'm like, wait a minute. 8 minutes to do a wheel alignment? How? How did they do a wheel alignment in 8 minutes?
Well, first of all, so let's say this was a legitimate alignment. One adjustment, I mean, it's literally loosen the jam nut on the tie rod, turn it a quarter turn, tighten it back up, hit print, and then take the heads off the sensors. So, I mean, that, like, once he gets the okay, the car is already set up on the machine. That's what takes the longest. The time's adding up, if they did it.
So I went to pick up the car. So now this is
wanna
where
see the
the
after.
fancy wording of the scam comes in. I walk in to pick up the car. The man behind the counter says, you're all set. Oh, by the way, we gave you a free tire upgrade. What does that mean? What do you mean free tire upgrade? The tires you ordered, we had an inventory calculation problem.
Yeah, I've been there. You go to pull the tires and they're not there. The computer says they are, but they are not there. I've definitely had that happen. I can't say I've ever seen anyone like put on a different set and not tell the customer though. Usually it would be like you get the car in there, you're like, oh shoot, we don't have these things, or you pull them and one of them was like labeled wrong or something, or you can't find the fourth one. It happens. For some reason, tire inventory always seems to be off. But you would call the customer and be like, and let them know. I mean, just be honest, say, hey, I don't know what happened. Like maybe you dropped the ball, maybe you got the wrong tire in, whatever it is. Obviously we have the car here, we have another set of comparable tires, and a lot of times, yeah, usually they'll be the same or better, and let the customer make the call. It's their car. I wouldn't not put something on a car I wouldn't put something on a car and not have the customer be aware of it. Things happen.
That's a fancy word for we never had those tires in the first place. We were going to replace them with something else. We had a tire inventory problem. Even though I ordered them 4 days in advance, he didn't tell me when I dropped off the car they didn't have the tires. He didn't tell me on the phone that they had the wrong tires. He didn't say anything about the wrong tires until I was there to pick up the car. Oh, we didn't have the tires, that we had an inventory issue. We gave you free upgrade. Upgrade? What does that mean? Do I get move the business class? Do I get a better seat? Did you clean my car? What do you mean upgrade?
I'm gonna be honest. This guy seems like he would be an absolute nightmare of a customer. Just his attitude, his perception. Clearly, it's a misunderstanding, and they either didn't get ordered. Someone dropped the ball, or the inventory is off, like they're supposed to be there. Either way, something happened. Someone dropped the ball, and they had to make a substitution. They just should have ran it by him first.
It's a better tire. It's made. He gave me some BS line, and I looked it up on their website, and their tire, it's like a couple bucks more per tire. So they're giving me they're warming me up, right, for the screw part, where the rip-off part is. So they warm me up. We gave you a free upgrade. Oh, that makes me feel so nice. Thank you so much. You gave me a free upgrade. I'm so appreciative. You gave me a better tire. I'm just, oh, that's so wonderful. You're so honest. Oh, but here is your charge for the $43.92 for your $6 worth of OEM repair kit for the tire pressure monitoring system, and the $99 for the wheel alignment that we did miraculously in 4 minutes. I knew it was a lie, but I didn't say anything because, again, I wanted to have the documentation to show you for the bill, and I wanted to have the sheet from the alignment that showed before and after.
Okay,
if I
let's
didn't
get
have
the
it with
after.
the alignment, I wouldn't have the after sheet. So this is the second ripoff. First ripoff, tire pressure monitoring system rebuild kit. Second ripoff, we're going to do the wheel alignment, and we're going to fix it so that you can protect your new purchase. Now, just to put this in perspective for you,
I mean, it's a business, you know. They're trying to make money. They're trying to sell you stuff. There's another issue with you're paying for convenience too, right? So if you go out and buy your own repair kits or valve stems or whatever, you have to spend the time, you got to spend the gas, you got to go get them, you got to order them, you got to make sure you get the right ones. It's a lot of work, and most people don't want to put in the effort. You're paying for the convenience. I do think $11 sounds a little high for what they are, but you know, there it is. They're there to make money. I mean, you agreed to it. You could have said no. I don't think they're trying to rip you off. It's just everyone's got to get their cut, you know, from the people that manufacture them to the dealer. I mean, it goes down the line, you know, and the end user or consumer ends up paying it. It's like if you think that whoever's making them should give them away for cost, like that's insane. I mean, so obviously they're going to have a markup. The dealership's got to buy them, and then they mark them up from there. It's just the way it is. It's how the industry is.
when you look at the measurement they took, it says the front right wheel was out. The total toe was 0.16 degrees, and the steer head out by minus 0.06 degrees. And the current measurement.
Okay, so total toe. I gotta go back a second. I don't think he's gonna give me a full see both the sheets at once. So total toe is 0.19 before and after. Okay, so what they did is the steering wheel was slightly off, and they just straightened it up and hit print. This guy was scammed. If you were gonna charge someone for this, let's say the customer was actually complaining of like a steering wheel slightly off center, you would set it to where you think it's level, right? Then you would lock it, like you would wedge it in place so it doesn't move, and then you would adjust it. Now, the reason I think this is a scam is because one, he wasn't complaining of a off-center steering wheel, but they were so lazy that they left this in a half tolerance, so it's still green. They didn't even adjust it, so like they're the same. They literally just like moved the steering wheel so the steer head was in green, which it was all the time, and hit print. Like, this guy got legitimately ripped off.
Measurements, which means after they did the work, it changed to 0.12 degrees and 0.03 degrees, which means between what it was before and after is they changed it 0.04 degrees. Now it's that 0.04 degrees that we're going to talk about and show you how much of a ripoff it is. So
I think the guy is right. He did get ripped off. However, he's misunderstanding alignments and how they work and are performed. So he doesn't know why he got ripped off. He just so happens to be right.
This is what they're telling me they did and what they charged me $99 for. If you can imagine your tire, if you look at the side of the tire,
Here we go.
and then if you were to look at it from the top, you would basically have a rectangle. And if you looked at just the rim, meaning if you took the tire off the rim, it would be a 16-inch long rectangle. And since the tire pivots around the center point, we take half of that, which is 8 inches, and it pivots around the center point, right? So we know that if this were a triangle, we'd have the length of one of the legs of a triangle of 8 inches. That is going to stay.
Dude, this guy's so pissed. He's like cranking into this. I'm impressed. He spent this much time to figure this out.
Consistent even when you turn the tire. And we know that he said, or they said, they moved at 0.04 degrees. We have two legs of a triangle, 8 inches and 8 inches. If we do some Pythagorean theorem here, and we just do some math, we find out we're looking for C, or how far did he have to move the outside part of the tire in order to move 0.04 degrees. A little bit of math, we find out that the tire had to be moved 6 thousandths of an inch, 0.006 inches. A little more perspective on that, the average human hair is about 2.5 thousandths of an inch. So they're trying to get me to believe they made an adjustment of 2 human hairs.
I can't verify his math. I think he's wrong here. Like I said, I guess you could break it down by the thread pitch, but like I say, you might have a thread pitch of like 1 on a tie rod, 125 maybe. I think it's pretty fine. And that adjustment, if you actually made it, it's probably about like a quarter of a turn. I mean, you 100% can get that much of that fine of adjustment on a wheel alignment. They are so sophisticated. Honestly, like like the weight of someone in the vehicle will change the alignment so it's off. If you're sitting in the car on the alignment rack, all your angles would be out. He's right that he got scammed, but he's wrong about his reasoning behind it.
And if you're working a shop, you are familiar with another measurement of human hair, which I won't use here, but basically they said 2 human hairs is what they moved the tire or made an adjustment. There's no adjustment on a car that can adjust 6 thousandths of an inch. That's crazy.
So I can't, like I say, I don't know if his math is adding up is right, but that adjustment is 100% achievable. In fact, sometimes even you'll adjust your tie rods, it'll be good, and then you'll go to tighten the bolt, and just the difference of the bolt being tight will move it into like a half tolerance, and then you got to loosen it and set it again. In fact, the alignment machines are so precise that if you use like a torch and heat up a stuck bolt, you can watch in real time your measurements going out of spec as you're heating the piece of metal because it's expanding. That's how accurate these things are. So he's just not understanding what an alignment is.
There's only one way to do it. A big one of these to the inside of the rim, make a little adjustment, bang, it came in.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of true. You can't just like bump her in and out. I've seen people do that, but the fact is that the steer head was off, and if he would have just known a little bit more about it, he could have called them out on it. And I would have been like, yeah, dude, you guys didn't adjust anything. Like the measurements are the same before and after. You just move the steering wheel. Like, I'm not paying for that.
Man, my guess is they had it on, they had the measurement, you whack it with the hammer, it takes up some slack inside the gearbox, it moves at 0.04 degrees, all of a sudden it's in spec, and
you don't have that much slack in a part, and if you did, the part's bad.
They charged me $99 for that. $99 for about 4 minutes worth of work. Now let's do a real quick math test on that.
I mean, $99 for an alignment is actually a good value, assuming they're doing it. And you're not paying for necessarily the labor on it. You're paying for the ability to do it. So the machine, I mean, that's a huge investment, like just the rack's probably like $20,000 just to like be able to lift the car up and down, not including the computer and the sensors and the lasers. You know, I mean, it's an investment. Like that's what you're paying. You, if I guess you could probably just do it with like a tape measure and like a bubble level, like in your garage if you wanted to. But honestly, you can get it pretty close. But
that there's 4 bays in the shop, but let's say they only have 3 mechanics on an average working full time. 3 mechanics doing changes on 3 cars per hour, roughly what it takes. 3, let's cut it short. They're open, even though they're open 12 hours a day. Let's be generous and say they're only changing tires, a full 4-tire car change on 7 and for 7 hours. 3 times 7 is 21. That means 21 cars a day will go in for new tires and get a free wheel alignment check. And out of those 21 cars, let's make it 20, make math easy. Out of those 20, let's say they run this game and they run this scam where they tell everybody you're out by 6 or 0.04 degrees, we got to fix it. And they take 4 minutes to hit it with a hammer, and 20 out of those 20 cars, let's say half people buy into it. That's 10 cars a day. 10 cars times the $100 is $1,000 a day. Times the 250 days they would be open for the year. That's an extra $250,000 they bring into the shop for doing almost nothing, hitting with a hammer, or nothing, doing nothing at all. That's where the scam came in, and that's what really frustrated me. They thought I was stupid enough to think they did a wheel alignment in 4 minutes.
once again, the guy just has no idea. I don't know. I've never seen this guy before. I don't know. He says Pete's Garage. I don't know if he's just like a backyard guy or if he's obviously never worked in a professional shop that does alignments, because he doesn't know how to read alignment printout and he doesn't seem to grasp the concept of them. And it seems like he's getting down on like just how businesses operate in general. You know, like I wonder if he like, this is like the same thing of going to a restaurant and being like, I'm not paying $15 for a hamburger. I can make a hamburger for, you buy ground beef for $3.99 a pound and make my own. It's like you're paying for the service. I mean, it's just how it is. Like there's markup. Like it's a business. They're there to make money.
And that they were able to adjust at only 6/1000 of an inch. And this is how I know they didn't do anything. In order to adjust the toe in or toe out of the wheels, front wheels, all you have to do is unscrew, loosen, and move the tie rod end. And that's threaded onto a rod that goes into the steering gearbox. Pretty simple. It's got a jam nut on there. Now this car is 6 years old. If you're going to make an adjustment, you got to put a tool on there. And after being on there for 6 years in the Buffalo winters, there's going to be a lot of rust. It's not going to move easily. So you're going to have some tool marks. So I bring the car home, I go underneath, and this is what I found. I look at the tie rod end. There are no tooling marks on the tie rod itself, so they didn't hold.
So he's not showing the jam nut. Oh, okay, maybe he does.
There are no tooling marks.
Okay, so here we go. He's really getting into this thing. This guy's pissed. Yeah, I mean, we're not seeing the entire bolt here, but there are marks here. But I know by the printout that nothing was moved.
Marks on the backup nut. Nothing on the backup nut indicates that they put a wrench on there. And even if they were just going to adjust it by slowly turning the shaft that comes out of the steering gearbox,
I mean, that is how you adjust that, but you have to loosen the jam nut. Once again, this guy, like, he has like a kind of a general concept, but he doesn't seem to like fully grasp what's going on.
There are no marks on that. That means there was not a single tool placed on any one of the parts that were needed to make that adjustment.
We knew
it
that
simply wasn't done. But
just
they did
by
put
the
a chalk
printout
mark across the steering linkage and the nut. Now, in order to make it look like they actually did something, they just take a chalk and just chalk it across there, make it look like they did something. So in case someone does check, you look under and go, oh, they did do something. Yeah, what I basically paid for was for a $99 chalk mark. That's the ripoff.
I'm not sure that they put that on there. A lot of times, like manufacturers will put marks on things, so that way you know, like it got either quality checked or it's tight. I don't, yeah, I don't know that. That I'm
And that's
not
what
convinced on that.
happened in a very short period of time. And they weren't even trying to, they didn't even try and fake it. The whole idea that, hey, we have to do alignment on your car. 8 minutes later, it's all done. No way, come on, I'm not going to fall for that. So avoid these kind of ripoffs by being reasonable. When you drop your vehicle off for service and they say they're going to do something for free, they're asking you for permission to charge you more money. They're asking you to go on a fishing expedition. Hey, we know you dropped your tire off for cars, but we want to check the entire vehicle to find out if there's anything wrong. Then we're going to call and scare you and tell you that it's not safe so we can charge you an extra X amount of dollars. And
I mean, the guy's being a little dramatic here, but 100%. That is the reason that shops do free inspections with oil changes is it gives them an opportunity to find and upsell things. Now, if you legitimately need it, that's great. It's good for the shop. It's good for you. It catches something before it becomes like a safety issue or actually breaks. But yeah, they're looking to sell you something. I mean, once again, that's why they're in business. I do think that's why it's so important to find a shop you trust. And, you know, unfortunately, going to a lot of, I hate to say like chains because that doesn't, just because they're a chain doesn't mean they're bad, but I mean, every company is prone to this over the years. I've seen it, and a lot of it comes from management and corporate. I guarantee you that there's a metric tied to how many alignments that they're supposed to sell on sets of tires. It's probably like 10 or 15% or whatever. So if they're doing like 10, 20 sets of tires a day, I mean, on dedicated tire shops, they're probably even doing more than that. A percentage of those tire sales should have alignments on them. And if they don't, their managers are going to be on them, goes like up the ladder, and it's desk jockeys up top trying to min-max profits. That's 100% true. So unfortunately, we kind of get into these situations with pressure and commissions where some guy in corporate I can't remember where he said Dunn's Tire or whatever. It's like, how do we make more money? Well, they just decide some arbitrary number, like 10% of tire sales need to have alignments on them. And then they put the pressure on the managers. Managers put the pressure on the sales advisors. And then they put it on you.
Boost our sales just from this one sale when all you wanted was tires. That's what happened. I got the documentation to show you how much they charged me. I have the proof of the pictures to show that nothing was really done. I have the measurements to show you what they would have had to do what they actually said, and to show you that if you just pay attention a little bit, ask some questions, and be reluctant when they say something is free. Be reluctant. Now, so not only that, so I told you about the tires. I go to pick up the car, I go to pay for it, we got new tires, and got the free upgrade to the tires. I look at the tires, it's almost the same tire. So be cautious. Be cautious when you go to drop off your car. Don't ask for, they might say, we're going to do a free 150-point safety inspection. We're going to do a free this, a free that. They're always going to find something. It's like asking the IRS to balance your checkbook. They're going to find something, and they're going to audit you.
I mean,
so
dude,
it's true. Be informed and pay attention. And after you're done, check the work. Make sure that it was done. Just take a look and see if there's any evidence. Now, I realize that everybody cannot do that. There are a lot of people that have no idea of anything about cars, and you have to rely or trust the person doing the work on your car. I completely get it. And I am by no means saying that every mechanic is dishonest. Most of them are. You've heard me say before that most mechanics are really, really honest. But I do hear a lot of horror stories where people respond to me and tell me how they got ripped off. People
Yep.
respond to me and tell me what someone did to mislead.
Well, so getting ripped off triggers an emotional response, right? You feel I mean, you kind of were like, violated, taken advantage of. So yeah, people are outraged. They're more likely to reach out. No one's gonna say, "Wow, I had a really good time for you doing your job. Congratulations." Just goes under the radar. But the one time something bad happens, obviously you're pissed about it. I mean, I'd be pissed too. Like, you send in your old lady and to like get tires or whatever, like you're just busy, don't want to deal with it, and then she's like, "Oh, I bought an alignment. They said I needed it," and you look at it and you're like, "What the fuck is this?" Yeah, I'd be pissed. I'd definitely call management, call the store, and yeah, I would want my money back. Honestly, should never have been charged for that. According to that alignment printout.
Them or how they got screwed with, whether it's for head gaskets or whatever it is. There's all kinds of stories out there. And it's unfortunate that if you don't have someone in your family, someone or a friend, someone who you can really, really trust to look at it for you, then you're really at the mercy of these places. And all I'm trying to do is share with you the words that they use. It's almost like how you can spot a scam. Hi, I'm calling to, oh, how many times have you heard this? Hi, I'm calling you about your car's extended warranty. I love those phone calls. I'll go into that in another video because I've had those guys run around in circles where they got so frustrated they hang up. And I'll tell you how to get out of those in another video. But if you're careful
Yeah,
when you go
just
to drop
don't
off your car,
pick up the phone.
be leery about those free checks. And if you do say go ahead and check, after you go to pick up the vehicle and they'll give you a list of something that was wrong and how much they're going to charge, simply take it to another shop, someone you might trust, and show them that. Say, "Hey, look, I got this list. Could you please check out my car, see if it's okay, check these things, and if necessary, give me a price." Always get a second price. Don't let them scare you into it because they have your car.
I kind of agree with this. There is nothing wrong with being fully informed. So, people do that in the medical field. They get a second opinion. There's nothing wrong with, saying I'm decline the repair, have them get you an estimate. And I mean, I wouldn't just be like shopping around trying to find the cheapest, but like, let's say you get tires because, like a discount tire or a Les Schwab if they're in your area, or Big O or wherever. And then they find something, and you're like, "Ah, it's weird. I've never heard of that." And then go to your normal mechanic or dealer or wherever and just get a second opinion. There's nothing wrong with that. I think that being informed is good. And unfortunately, some things are kind of perception. Something that one shop would charge you for, another shop might not. They might not see a need in it. That's why I'm a huge fan of like factory maintenance intervals and services. There's no like interpretation. It's like printed in your owner's manual, and it's kind of like not up for debate. You just do that.
They can't hold it hostage. Just say, "I want my car back. Please give me the information, pay, leave, and go see someone else." I hope that helps you out. I went through this. I was kind of excited going through this because I knew it was going to be a ripoff. I knew I was going to have some great information to share with you in content. And fortunately or unfortunately, depending on how you look at it, I got the information I wanted. I did not see evidence of the repair they claim, and I showed that it's very easy to be scammed, even if you're just going for tires. Thanks for stopping by Pete's Garage.
So his argument for why he was scammed is that he thinks this adjustment isn't possible on a car, and it is. the reason why he got scammed is because they didn't actually move anything. But if this one was also at the same measurement, right? Yeah, that would have been a valid alignment. And yeah, it'd probably take 30 seconds, honestly, to loosen the two jam nuts with the car on the rack and to put it in spec and hit print. So his whole reasoning of why he got scammed, I think, is wrong. It just so happens he was right. But you 100% can make adjustments that small. So I hope this video helps. If you want to check this guy's original video out, I'll link it in the description so you could check it out.